Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in, because today we're looking at the ultimate 2026 AI design showdown, KREA AI versus RECRAFT AI. Just take a second and think about how rapidly the whole AI design landscape has evolved over the last few years. Seriously, back in 2023 or 2024, we were just typing text into a little box and crossing our fingers for a cool, slightly usable image. It was a fun novelty. But fast forward to right now, 2026, and we are dealing with serious, production-ready, enterprise-grade pipelines. If you've been anywhere near the design, marketing, or content creation space lately, you've absolutely heard these two names dominating the conversation. Both platforms have dropped massive architectural-level updates this year, and they are fundamentally changing how creative professionals build, iterate, and produce at scale. But as we unpack this today, we're going to see that the overarching narrative surrounding these tools, the way people are talking about them on social media and in the forums, has been completely misguided.
Literally everywhere you look, the industry is asking this one question: KREA versus RECRAFT, which wins? Everyone's trying to figure out which tool deserves that coveted top spot in their creative workflow. People are out there running these exhaustive side-by-side prompt tests, feeding the exact same text into both engines, comparing the outputs, and trying to crown a definitive victor. But here's the secret that really separates the amateurs from the pros. Comparing them directly like this, it's completely comparing apples to oranges. If you're approaching this entire technological shift as some kind of winner-takes-all battle, you're missing out on the true potential of the 2026 creative landscape. You're just fundamentally misunderstanding what these tools were actually engineered to do. So, here is the paradigm-shifting truth. These two incredibly powerful tools are not competitors at all. They're actually designed to be partners. Making this mental shift changes the way you create entirely. We have to stop looking for one magic application that does everything mediocrely and start building a highly specialized system. Think about it for a second. One of these platforms is built from the ground up to handle chaotic, high-volume, hyper-fast creative exploration. The other? Well, it's engineered for strict mathematical precision and structural perfection. They solve two completely different halves of the creative equation. And once you realize that, you stop pitting them against each other and you start plugging them into the exact same continuous loop.
All right, let's move into Section 1, Core Updates Breakdown.
To really grasp how they fit together, let's pop the hood and look at the actual engines running these things. First up, KREA AI. This operates as your speed layer. KREA acts as your real-time creative engine. With their new KREA 2 foundation model, the workflow is literally instantaneous. As you draw, drag shapes, or tweak prompts right there on your canvas, the AI is generating high-quality image outputs in real time. It prioritizes blazing fast exploration above all else. And this gets amplified tenfold by their custom LoRa training. This means you can upload, say, a dozen images of your specific product, like a custom sneaker, and train KREA to understand exactly what that sneaker looks like. But honestly, the biggest leap forward is their new Nodes workflow builder. Imagine a visual workspace where you just drag and drop automated steps. You can link a rough sketch node, connect it to a character LoRa node, wire that to a specific lighting node, and finally to an upscaler node. It completely automates these complex chains of generation without ever having to leave the interface. At its core, KREA is all about volume, rapid iteration, and giving you an incredible amount of creative velocity.
On the flip side, we have RECRAFT AI, which functions perfectly as your precision layer. Their massive V4 update is built entirely around professional, exact output. They looked at the biggest frustrations designers had with earlier AI generation and tackled them head-on. Remember those major pain points from just a couple of years ago? You'd ask an AI for a logo with a specific word in it, and it would spit back these weird alien hieroglyphics, or you'd get an image with super jagged edges that you couldn't possibly send to a professional printer. Well, RECRAFT V4 solves this completely. Now you get beautifully clean, perfectly readable text rendered directly inside your images. But even more importantly, it delivers advanced, scalable vector graphics. We are talking about true SVG files here. You can blow these up to the size of a highway billboard without losing a single pixel of quality. RECRAFT's entire architecture is designed to offer unparalleled text rendering and print-ready CMYK vectors to maintain absolute perfect brand consistency. No, it doesn't do the magical real-time generation that KREA does, but when you hand it a specific layout or composition requirement, it gives you exactly what you asked for, flawlessly.
So to sum up their distinct identities, KREA is your rapid creative speed layer, purpose-built for high-volume, exploratory, visually dynamic content. RECRAFT, meanwhile, is your highly controlled, precise brand layer, built for structured, professional, infinitely scalable assets. They don't step on each other's toes because they are running on totally different operational tracks. They complement each other perfectly. Which brings us to Section 2, Step by Step practical workflows. Understanding their identities is great in theory, but the real magic happens when we stop treating them as isolated apps and actually start chaining them together into a professional pipeline. Imagine you're launching an indie coffee brand today. Let's call it Urban Roast. By combining these tools, you can execute a full agency-level brand workflow in literally a matter of hours. Step 1, you start in RECRAFT AI to build your mathematical foundation. You prompt it for a minimalist, geometric coffee cup logo, dial in the exact typography for the words Urban Roast, and establish your core brand kit. Because it's RECRAFT, the text is flawless, and the lines are razor crisp. Step 2, you export those pristine SVGs. Step 3 is where the pipeline really connects. You bring those foundational vector assets into KREA AI and use their custom LoRa to train the model. Now, KREA fundamentally understands the Urban Roast visual identity. Moving to step 4, you unleash KREA's speed to generate an endless, highly dynamic content library. Think lifestyle shots of people drinking your coffee in the rain, moody cafe interiors for your website's hero banner, high-energy social media posts. Finally, step 5, you push all that incredible content through KREA's enhancer to ensure the resolution is completely print and retina display ready. You built the structural foundation in RECRAFT, and then you scaled the world in KREA.
Now, if you're on a marketing team running continuous, multi-channel campaigns, this division of responsibility is absolutely critical. Think about all the daily deliverables for a major ad campaign. RECRAFT handles the strict, structured brand graphics, the exact sizing of ad banners, the rigid typographical layouts, the core logos that legally cannot be altered or distorted. It sets the unbreakable visual rules. Then, KREA takes over to execute the high-volume A/B testing variations. It handles the product lifestyle visuals, the dynamic video ad snippets, and the mood boards. When you work this way, your creative team isn't frantically bouncing between a dozen disconnected applications. You've established a clean, two-step pipeline that guarantees strict brand safety on one end and massive content volume on the other. Moving on to Section 3, Limitations and Constraints. Let's get completely grounded and practical here, because we all know what happens when you're staring down a tight client deadline. No tool is perfect, and this is where our expectations have to meet reality. First, think about output control. KREA is an unbelievable brainstorming partner. It'll throw 100 ideas at the wall for you, but its exploratory nature means the outputs can be pretty unpredictable. You might need a very specific lifestyle shot for a client meeting happening in 30 minutes, and honestly, KREA is going to require constant iteration to strike gold. RECRAFT, conversely, is like a highly diligent assistant executing an exact spec sheet. It gives you highly controlled outputs, but its creative lane is much, much narrower. It's not going to surprise you with a happy accident. When it comes to video generation, KREA still wrestles with occasional artifacts and clip length limits, while RECRAFT essentially stays out of the video game entirely. Also, take a look at the feature gaps. KREA's super powerful LoRa training is totally useless if you don't feed it exceptionally clean data first, and RECRAFT completely lacks KREA's magical real-time drawing canvas. Finally, workflow automation. KREA's node system is incredibly powerful for building complex pipelines, but I'll be honest, it comes with a massive, steep learning curve. RECRAFT keeps things much simpler, but its automation is pretty minimal. Basically, you are always sacrificing a certain capability in one tool to leverage the absolute best feature of the other.
What these limitations really tell us is something profound about the current maturity of creative technology. We are rapidly moving away from the era of one tool does everything. We're entering a highly professionalized phase where serious work relies on purpose-built nodes working in sequence. Think about it like building a house. You don't buy a Swiss Army knife when what you actually need is a professional-grade power drill and a specialized table saw. Sure, the Swiss Army knife is great for camping, but it's terrible for pouring a concrete foundation. Professional creatives in 2026 don't look for all-in-one AI toys. They buy specialized tools and build an airtight, specialized pipeline.
And as we assemble these hyper-efficient pipelines, we really have to pause and consider our actual design identity. As these tools enable incredibly fast, vector-accurate branding and LoRa train generation, we absolutely must remain thoughtful about originality and attribution. I mean, when a single creative director can generate an entire comprehensive brand system in just an hour, the value of that work shifts. It's no longer just about who can make the image the fastest. It becomes about being deliberate. It becomes about the source of your inspiration, the authenticity of the voice you are crafting, and making sure your brand doesn't just dissolve into generic algorithmic mush. Understanding the exact tools you build on ensures you actually maintain control over your final creative voice.
Let's zoom out for Section 4, the bigger creative picture. Let's pull all of this together and summarize exactly who should be using what in the modern stack, so you can go optimize your workflow right now. If you're a content creator, a social media manager, or a video producer, your primary daily driver is definitely KREA AI. The core benefit here is high volume and creative speed. You need to iterate fast, jump on daily trends, and produce a massive quantity of eye-catching visuals. But if you are a brand builder, a logo designer, or a print specialist, your definitive tool is RECRAFT AI. You just cannot compromise on clean vectors, exact CMYK colors, and precise typography. But what if you're an agency, a marketing team, or an entrepreneur running a full-scale operation? Well, you must use both, perfectly sequenced together. You are the bridge. You use RECRAFT to establish that unshakable foundation for your clients, and then you use KREA to scale their campaigns across the entire internet. That is exactly how you achieve full creative operation coverage without ever having to compromise on speed or quality.
Realizing that these tools are collaborative partners is the fundamental shift that changes everything. It elevates you from being just someone playing around with AI novelties to a professional operating a highly optimized creative pipeline. So I genuinely want to challenge how your current setup looks. Are you still treating AI like a shiny new toy, running totally separate web browser tabs and just hoping for the best? Or are you finally ready to build a professional, sequential pipeline where these engines actually talk to each other? Let me know how you are chaining your tools together to get the best results. Please like, share, and subscribe, and drop a comment.